2023 was an absolutely insane year for gaming. Possibly the best in my lifetime, though I'd still make an argument for 2017. I mean, where do I even begin to talk about it? Mario, Zelda, and Sonic all got new games in a single year. Street Fighter 6 absolutely dominated the news cycle in a way that fighting games rarely do. Final Fantasy 16 reminded us that Square Enix is actually capable of making good games. Ghostwire Tokyo was way more fun than it had any right to be. Star Wars Jedi Survivor had one clip go viral and was never heard from again. Terra Nil was a really unique take on a classic genre. Everybody 1-2 Switch was universally panned as the greatest game ever made. Baldur's Gate 3 took the world by storm. Starfield was really popular with people who cheer whenever a new Skyrim port gets announced, and really unpopular with basically everyone else. Alan Wake 2 and Dead Space scared the pants off of anyone who was brave enough to actually play them. I still don't know what an Armored Core 6 is. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk proved that there's still a commercial interest in skateboarding games. Headbangers reminded us that literally any genre can be turned into a battle royale. CD Projekt Red finally finished convincing everyone that Cyberpunk 2077 was never a bad game, which means their next one will probably be just as unplayable at launch. Fortnite added Legos and Guitar Hero for some reason. Sega released 2 new Yakuza games in 1 year, and apparently I only played the bad one. Pikmin 4 finally came out. The Mario movie finally came out. A 4th Bayonetta came out, technically. Still no news on Metroid Prime 4. F-Zero kinda got a new game for the first time in 20 years. Sega released a new Samba De Amigo for the first time since 2008, and then announced new entries in a bunch of other long-dead franchises. Resident Evil 4 redefined what a remake could be. Metroid Prime Remastered redefined what a remaster could be. And Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp and Super Mario RPG were just damn good remakes of some damn good games. As for me, I spent half the year too broke to buy games and the other half too busy to play them, so I didn't play nearly as many games as I normally would like to. Here's all the games from this year that I missed out on that probably would have made the list if I had actually played them. But at the end of the day, I still did my best, and what I did end up playing was absolutely incredible. Lethal Company was a bit of a sleeper pick for 2023. It released near the end of the year, had to compete with games like Spider-Man 2 and Mario Wonder. It's still in very early access. It was developed entirely by a single person, and it still somehow managed to absolutely floor damn near every AAA game on the market and cement itself as one of the most enjoyable multiplayer experiences that I have ever had the pleasure of being bad at. Of course, the game's not perfect. It's still very obviously in early access, and to a lot of people, it's practically unplayable without mods. But even at its barest of bare bones, this is still a genuinely incredible game, and I cannot wait to see what it does next. Fuck these spiders though, dude. What the fuck? WarioWare is one of my all-time favorite franchises. WarioWare Smooth Moves is my all-time favorite game in this franchise. So when I heard that this underappreciated masterpiece was getting a successor 17 years after its initial release, I was understandably very excited. And WarioWare Move It did not disappoint. It retains everything that makes the series as a whole so much fun. Quirky microgames, a unique art style, an irreverent sense of humor, wacky characters, and wild situations, all while elevating everything that made its predecessor so unique, with new microgames, more poses, greater microgame variety, better multiplayer modes, and more accurate motion controls. WarioWare Move It is everything I hoped it would be, and so much more. And it serves as a breath of fresh air after the underwhelming release of 2021's WarioWare Get It Together. Man, I really gotta play more of this game. One of my biggest regrets in 2023 is that I didn't play nearly as many indie games as I would normally like to. But out of the few indie titles that I did play, Viewfinder was the obvious standout. Actually, out of all of the games I played this year, Viewfinder was an obvious standouts. Viewfinder is a game about walking through memories. If you take or pick up a photo and look at it just right, the objects in the frame will appear in front of you, creating paths to walk on, cutting through the environment, and providing you with the tools necessary to complete the game's insanely creative puzzles. This photo manifestation mechanic is one of the most creative and unorthodox central gimmicks in any game I have ever played, and it serves as the backbone of Viewfinder's story and gameplay, and allows the team at Sad Owl Studios to create one of the most unique, complex, and emotionally powerful games I have ever played. Also, you can pet the cat. You can pet my cat too. In May of 2023, I made a video where I technically discussed more than 30 separate fighting game franchises in some capacity. Sure, some got a little more screen time than others, but that's besides the point. If there's a series that you've heard of, it's probably at least mentioned in the video. And if it isn't, I've probably still played it. The point being that I have played a lot of fighting games. So when I tell you that Street Fighter 6 is one of the greatest fighting games ever made, and if you have even a marginal interest in traditional fighters, you should absolutely play it, you better fucking listen. Still gets absolutely cleared by Guilty Gear Strive though. Guilty Gear Strive! Yeah, I love Guilty Gear! Strive mentioned! What the fuck is a well-designed zoner? Hi-Fi Rush is quite possibly the perfect game for me. It is an action-adventure rhythm game with a banger soundtrack, a unique art style, a goofy sense of humor, a genuinely good story, and legitimately hard-hitting social commentary criticizing things that I don't like. It's everything I do like rolled into one silly little package. There's even a cat! They made this game specifically to get my attention, and no one can convince me otherwise. Persona 5 Tactica is the gameplay of Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle with the story of Persona 5. And if you think that that sounds like the dumbest thing you've ever heard, you're probably not wrong. But if you don't also think that it sounds like the greatest game ever made, then shut the fuck up. What is wrong with you? Go spend $70 on Call of Duty. Better yet, go spend $500 on Call of Duty. Get the fuck out of here. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a game absolutely bursting with creativity. Every level had me on the edge of my seat. Every new idea, new mechanic, and new enemy type had me thinking, how did they come up with this? From start to finish, this game had me in a state of constant shock and excitement. I don't think Mario Wonder has a single forgettable level. I don't even think it has a single bad one. There's just too much going on. Too many new ideas, new mechanics, and new design principles. There was just no way that this game would be anything less than incredible. And thanks to the Wonder Flowers, every good level is actually two incredible ones. This is a 2D Mario game that is actually creative. A 2D Mario that is actually unique, actually difficult, actually trying something new. It has a quirky art style all its own and goofy little animations that make every frame a treat to witness. It has more character in one single level than most games have from start to finish. It is everything 2D Mario games used to be and everything they always could have been. It is a breath of fresh air after 17, I'm getting old, years of cookie cutter copy-paste 2D Mario games, and it is especially potent after playing and nearly beating Super Mario Bros. U for the first time ever, literally a week before. Because apparently this is what I do with my free time. With this game, 2D Mario has finally recaptured the magic that made the original game so great, and the series can finally go blow for blow with the 3D games in terms of style, creativity, character, and fun. Pikmin is a series of real-time strategy games where you collect a bunch of goofy little dipshits and use them to solve puzzles as you explore a strange alien planet, collecting food and parts to repair your damaged spaceship. They are some of the most unique and creative games I have ever had the pleasure of playing, and Pikmin 4 might just be the best game in the entire franchise. I wouldn't actually know though, I I haven't played that many of them. But Pikmin 4 is a pretty big departure from the Pikmin games I have played. The core gameplay is still here and better than ever, but they added just enough to really shake up the formula. The newly added night missions and Dandori battles are welcome additions that round out the overall gameplay and provide additional challenges not found in previous games. The new Pikmin are really cute with fun little abilities, and the Ice Pikmin in particular round out the cast so well that it's a surprise they weren't here from the start. And the decreased emphasis on time limits and increased emphasis on exploration is a welcome change to a game with visuals this beautiful and environments this creative and interesting. There are not a lot of games I played in 2023 that I plan to continue playing in 2024, but at the very least, I want to find the rest of the optional castaways and finish seeing everything this masterpiece has to offer. In 2018, I bought my first ever PlayStation console for the sole purpose of playing Spider-Man PS4. In 2023, I bought a PS5 for the sole purpose of playing Spider-Man 2. And in both cases, yeah, I think I made a pretty good investment. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is very unapologetically a direct sequel, and it makes the most of it. This game takes everything that made its predecessor so great and expands on that foundation in ways that make the original game feel like an opening act. The map has been massively expanded to contain more of the worst place on Earth. The new abilities add some much needed diversity to the combat loop. The new boss fights absolutely clear most of the old ones. And they managed to make the swinging better? How did they do that? This shit was already perfect the first time! And the story, despite being incredibly flawed and possibly the worst of the Insomniac Spider-Man games, still builds on concepts and arcs that were established in the previous games in a logical and satisfying way. And I'm an especially big fan of this game's take on Kraven's Last Hunt and the Black Suit/Venom arc. It is very rare that we get an adaptation of either story that is actually, good. So it was really nice seeing these characters' stories and concepts adapted so thoroughly and authentically while still being completely their own thing. And I appreciate that despite Peter and his supporting cast very obviously being the game's primary focus, Miles and his cast still get a lot of focus and development. And he's very clearly being set up as the series' primary protagonist. Of course, it's not perfect. The combat is still overly simplistic. I have a lot of problems with this story. I really wish we had spent more time with a lot of the villains. The collectibles and side quests are a lot less interesting than they were in the first game, and there are still fucking MJ levels. But hey, they did give her a gun this time around, so things are a little better. What the fuck? They gave MJ a gun? Drum roll, everybody. And without further ado, the Game Award for Game of the Year 2023 goes to Hogwarts Legacy. Just kidding, I'm not fucking stupid. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was pretty much universally considered Game of the Year in 2017. It's my second favorite game that came out that year. It was my favorite game of all time for a really long time. It's easily the best game on the Wii U, one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch, and possibly also just one of the greatest games ever made. And Tears of the Kingdom is just a little bit better. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is an absolute masterclass of exploration and discovery, not just in terms of everywhere you can go and everything you can see, but also in terms of everything you can do. The game is piled high with new places to explore, new enemies to fight, new bosses to battle, new gadgets and gizmos to tinker with. Whether you're high in the sky or deep underground, surrounded by light or shrouded in darkness, reconnecting with the familiar or investigating the unknown, dismantling the Yiga or rebuilding Hyrule, doing spring cleaning for the Zora or turning off the air conditioner for the Rito, fighting alongside new friends or honoring allies long since dead, chasing after Princess Zelda, or building a giant mech to eliminate bokoblins. This game is weird. There is always something new to see, something new to discover, somewhere new to go, something to do that you've never done before. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom takes everything that made its predecessor so great and it builds on it. It expands it. It erects a monument to everything that came before, and it concludes its story with beauty and grace. And it serves as a beautiful, bittersweet farewell to this era of the Zelda franchise and everything it gave us. Game of the fucking year, baby. So there you go. That's the annual Game of the Year video and the first real video I'm posting this year. Thanks to everyone who made it to the end, and an extra special thanks to everyone who liked, commented, and subscribed. Got a lot of big things planned this year, really excited, including, but not limited to, an exclusive members-only companion video to this one, where I talk about some of the other games I played this year that just for whatever reason weren't eligible for the list. That should be coming out sometime this week. It's probably going to be a little lower effort, a little lower editing, but, you know, if you're interested in that, feel free to waste your money, and if you're not, feel free to don't do that. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and look forward to the rest of 2024.